Now, hope is alive as human remains were found on Dale Warner's property, and they're set to be identified this week.
Pay attention to this woman. Her name is Dee Warner, a mother of 5 who vanished from her Michigan farmhouse in 2021. 3 years later, her remains were discovered welded inside a fertilizer tank, buried in the very place she called home. Now pay attention to the man beside her, her husband, Dale Warner. Detectives say he murdered Dee after she told him she was leaving, then sealed her body inside that tank, repainted it, and used it like nothing ever happened. For over 1,000 days, he slept just yards away from where he hid her. In August 2024, after more than 3 years of searching, detectives made a discovery so horrifying it silenced an entire Michigan town. Inside a rusted fertilizer tank on a farm in Lenawee County, investigators found the body of missing mother and businesswoman Dee Warner, welded inside, sealed in metal, and left in plain sight on her own property. For over 200 days, the tank had been repainted, moved, and used like ordinary farm equipment. No one realized it was a tomb, hiding the truth about what really happened to a woman everyone thought had simply disappeared. How does someone vanish from their own farmhouse and end up inside a fertilizer tank? To understand that, we have to go back to April 2021.
Certificate with the identification of being my sister was such a reassuring event, and it made it final.
52-year-old Dee Warner was known across Lenawee County as a strong, outspoken woman who helped run the family's trucking and farm business, DW Investments. She had 5 children, a thriving career, and a determination that defined her life. But behind that success was a marriage that had turned into a prison. Her husband, Dale Warner, controlled everything: the business accounts, her communications, even her movements. Friends said he'd installed trackers on her phone and vehicle, demanded passwords, and monitored her employees' loyalty. Dee endured it for years, hoping he'd change. But by spring 2021, she was done pretending. That April, she told close friends and family she was divorcing Dale. She had a haircut appointment, a visit planned with her daughter, and a meeting to separate finances. Every sign pointed to one thing: she was planning a new life, but she never got the chance to live it. On the morning of April 25th, 2021, Dee's children tried calling her. No answer. By midday, they went to her farmhouse, and something felt off. Her truck was still there. Her purse was inside. Her favorite boots by the door. But Dee was gone. Dale claimed she'd stormed out after a fight. He said she needed space or had gone to visit a friend. But her wallet, phone, and ID were still in the house. It looked less like she'd left and more like she'd vanished. Within hours, her family reported her missing. Deputies searched the 700-acre property, the fields and nearby woods, but found nothing. No forced entry, no tracks in the mud. Just silence, and through it all, Dale stayed calm, too calm. He told everyone Dee had probably left him, maybe even with another man. But when police asked for a polygraph, he refused. As the weeks passed, the story grew darker. Investigators learned Dee had met with a lawyer about dividing business assets, and that Dale had already started transferring company property into his own name before she vanished. He wasn't planning to share anything. Family members told police Dale had a violent temper. He'd thrown things, screamed in her face, once left her bruised. Dee's loved ones said she was terrified but determined to escape. Her brother later said she was finally ready to stand up to him. That's why she's gone. Police found major inconsistencies in Dale's story. He said Dee took her car, yet both cars were still at the farm. He said she left with her phone, but it went dark that same night. He said she walked away, yet there were no footprints anywhere. Then came something even more suspicious. Around 3:30 a.m. on the night Dee disappeared, one of Dale's employees, Todd Nienick, accessed the farm using a fake login. He drove a truck off the property, hauling a heavy load toward Indiana before dawn. Police believe the trip wasn't about fertilizer. It was about covering up a crime. For months, Dale acted as if nothing had happened. He went to work, attended local events, even posted on social media. But privately, he was selling assets, changing passwords, and erasing Dee's name from business records. Meanwhile, her children and brother launched their own investigation. They hired private investigator Billy Little, who uncovered evidence of forgery, embezzlement, and lies. He told the media this wasn't just a missing person case. It was a man erasing his wife from existence. In late 2023, after more than 2 years of relentless digging, Michigan State Police charged Dale Warner with open murder and tampering with evidence. It was the break the family had fought for, but Dee's body was still missing. That changed in August 2024. Investigators returned to the farm with new equipment and suspicions. Ground-penetrating radar detected dense metal layers within a large anhydrous ammonia tank. The tank looked ordinary, used for fertilizer storage, but it had been recently welded and painted. When they cut it open, they found the unimaginable. Inside were human remains, preserved by chemicals and sealed in metal. Forensic testing confirmed the truth everyone feared. It was Dee Warner. She had never left the farm.
A few days ago, when human remains were found on a property owned by her and her husband.
She'd been hidden there all along, beneath the same roof her husband slept under, behind the same walls where he pretended to mourn her. The discovery shattered the silence that haunted the Warner family for 3 years. The missing woman everyone believed might return had been there the whole time, sealed inside the machinery of her own business. A monument to greed and control. As investigators pieced together the timeline, one question remained. How long did he think he could get away with it? When detectives opened that tank, everything about the case changed. For 3 years, her disappearance had been one of Michigan's deepest mysteries. Now it was something far darker. The woman who built a business from the ground up had been hidden in the tools of that very business, while her husband walked free among her family for more than 1,000 days. The discovery triggered a storm of emotion: grief, outrage, disbelief. Her brother Greg Hardy, who had led countless searches, said through tears, all this time she was right there. He was sleeping under the same roof that held her body. It was a line that hit the entire community like a gut punch. People realized the horrifying simplicity of Dale's plan: hide the evidence in plain sight. Forensic teams found traces of Dee's blood inside the farmhouse, small but undeniable. Signs of a violent confrontation. Detectives believe the argument turned deadly before midnight. Once Dale realized what he'd done, he acted fast. He called a trusted employee under the pretense of moving farm material. By morning, that truck hauled something heavy off the property. It later returned empty. Over the next few days, Dale welded shut a fertilizer tank, repainted it, and placed it back with the other machinery, hiding Dee's remains where no one would suspect. The irony was chilling. He hid her body in the very symbol of their livelihood: the farm, the fertilizer, the business they built together. As months turned into years, Dale grew bolder. He told reporters he was hurt and confused. He attended church, posed for photos, even hosted business meetings near the barn that held her remains. But detectives were watching. They uncovered forged documents, fake transfers, and proof Dale had been siphoning money from their company into a separate one, DDW Transportation, under his sole control. He wasn't just hiding a murder, he was profiting from it. By late 2023, police had enough. After dozens of interviews and forensic testing, Dale Warner was arrested. When officers arrived, he didn't resist. He simply said, "I knew this day was coming." No denial, no shock, just quiet acceptance. In court, prosecutors painted a picture of obsession and greed. They said Dale killed Dee because she was leaving and taking half their empire with her. It wasn't spontaneous, it was calculated. Dee's family filled the courtroom, wearing purple ribbons, her favorite color, listening as prosecutors described years of abuse and manipulation. The defense claimed there was no direct proof of murder. But with Dee's body found sealed in metal, that argument collapsed. Public outrage exploded. Through crime forums, media outlets, and Michigan residents followed every hearing. Many compared Dale to Chris Watts, another husband who thought he could bury the truth. But Dee's family refused to let her be forgotten. They organized searches, hired private teams, and fought to keep her name in headlines. Their persistence forced the investigation to reopen and ultimately led to her discovery. The case became a haunting reminder of how control can turn to violence. Friends said Dee once joked she watched too much Dateline. She never imagined she'd become its story. Though Dale now faces life behind bars, the emotional toll remains. Her children, who once hoped their mother might still return, now live knowing she never left at all, that her killer slept just yards away from her resting place for years. After the discovery, Dee's family finally brought her home. Her brother said it was closure and heartbreak. "We searched everywhere, fields, rivers, towns. We never thought to look inside a tank on her own land." That moment, lowering her coffin into the ground, wasn't just an ending. It was a promise that no matter how carefully someone hides the truth, time always finds a way to uncover it. Today, Dee Warner's story stands as one of Michigan's most chilling domestic murder cases, not just for its brutality, but for its deception. A woman vanished, her husband smiled for cameras, and all the while, her body was hidden in the machinery of everyday life, unseen, unheard, but never truly gone. In the end, it wasn't luck that solved the case. It was persistence. It was family. It was love that refused to stop searching. Because sometimes the most powerful force in a mystery isn't the killer's secret, it's the refusal to let that secret stay buried. This is the story of Dee Warner, a mother, a businesswoman, and a fighter whose truth couldn't be welded away forever. If you found this story haunting, subscribe to Mystery Note for more real-life cases where the truth hides longer than the body itself.